It's a brand new Marvel Snap season, and we have not just one, but two new card releases. Our latest season pass card, Hawkeye Kate Bishop, a 2/3 whose on reveal adds 2 arrows to your hand. The acid arrows got -2 power and jumps across the board when it on reveals. The grapple arrow is a 1/3 that moves your next played card to its location. The basic arrow mimics traditional Hawkeye, being a 1/1 that gets +3 if you play a card at its location the following turn. And finally, the Pym Particle arrow, which is Ant-Man adjacent, being a 1/1 with the ongoing of getting +3 if you fill the location that it's at. We also have Marvel Boy as a brand new card release, a 3/2 who at the end of each turn gives up to 3 1 energy cards that you have in play +1 power. In my opinion, Kate Bishop is everything that is good and fun about Marvel Snap. She offers dynamic gameplay with the arrows that she provides being different from game to game. She leads you to having to figure out interesting sequencing decisions about where and when you're playing those arrows out. And she has a ton of deck building synergy to allow you to min-max her to a degree that you're happy with, or simply play her as an on-rate good value 2-drop. As far as power level is concerned, I would be absolutely shocked when the dust settles if Kate Bishop isn't slot optimal in one or more different Marvel Snap decks, just with all the different ways she can be comboed with. Marvel Boy doesn't have nearly the same deck building depth and puzzle solving that Kate Bishop is going to have, but I also assume that he's going to be a powerful Marvel Snap card. Things like Gilgamesh, Khazar, Zoo decks have consistently been in and out of my best decks roundups here, putting up powerful stats, and I expect Marvel Boy will likely be slot optimal in at least that shell moving forward. However, there's some other Marvel Boy decks that we're going to cover in today's review that I think have some potential. One of the most direct synergies that Kate Bishop has alongside the Collector, her arrows being added to your hand give him 2 additional points of power, effectively letting her be a 2/5 on top of the other utility that she's generating. Her making multiple other cards that also didn't start in your deck works very well with Mockingbird and Sasquatch as well. One of the things that Mockingbird Sasquatch decks have always struggled with in the past, in my experience, is that your draws where you don't have Mysterio often go pretty limp, not giving you enough things to effectively cost reduce Mockingbird and Sasquatch. In enter Kate Bishop. She gives you 2 things to play out on turn 5 for Sasquatch that also discount Mockingbird, so it's a pretty regular occurrence with this deck that even without Mysterio, turn 5 going into 6 sets you up to play Mockingbird, Sasquatch, and potentially other cards like Kitty Pryde on that final turn of the game as well. I elected for Cosmo as well as Snow Guard to be our interactive bits in this deck. Snow Guard has obvious direct synergy with Collector and Mockingbird as well, and Cosmo kind of plays double duty, allowing us to protect our scaling threats from things like Shadow King, or play out Mockingbird and Sasquatch proactively without fearing for a Shang-Chi. Kate Bishop working with the Collector makes her a natural inclusion to want to try inside of Bounce Shell, since Beast and Falcon work to scale him up as well, and these effects that return our 1 energy cards to our hand allow us to get additional value out of the basic arrow as well as the grapple arrow inside of this particular bounce core that's leveraging move payoffs as our primary way to generate stats. One type of tricky thing to navigate around is figuring out how to not overfill your hand and brick too many draws with so many things bouncing back and forth, but if that is happening, it also means that our deck is likely firing on all cylinders, putting out some pretty impressive numbers to make up for it. And we want to be a little bit less adorable with Kate Bishop inside of Bounce. Her and Collector seem like excellent candidates to try inside of the Black Swan Bounce shell that I and many others have had proven results with in Marvel Snap in recent memory. Her extra 1s are perfect to make free on the last turn to make our Hit Monkey absolutely massive. Her Acid Arrow has synergy with Titania, helping us clog our opponent's last 2 spots in key moments. And Collector, as opposed to Angela, actually makes Beast a whole lot less awkward in this shell, since you can pick up a path adjacent to him and not risk bouncing your scalar back to your hand when it's inconvenient. Cooking with Kate Bishop and Black Swan and Hitmonkey got me thinking another card that would love absolutely free arrows to chase around the board is Werewolf by Night. 3 of the 4 things Kate can generate have on reveal effects, in addition to her having one herself, and she feels like a fantastically fun and powerful card to play alongside Werewolf by Night. This particular shell has a variety of ways to put good stats into play: Hood's Demon, Rocket Raccoon, Werewolf Sage, Hit Monkey, just lots of flexibility in how we spread out across the board, while also having a dash of disruption thanks to things like Viper clogging, Quake letting us rearrange locations at key moments, and Shadow King wiping away buffs from our opponent's side of the board. Kate Bishop felt so good alongside Werewolf by Night in the Black Swan Hitmonkey shell. It makes me want to try her in every Werewolf by Night deck that I've enjoyed. The best of these is definitely the Thor core that I used to add a new Infinite Conquest border to my collection with last season. I absolutely love that I can play Kate Bishop out on turn 2 and then curve Thor, Beta Ray Bill, Jane Foster out, and then end on a big turn 6 where we play Werewolf by Night, we play out hammers, we play out arrows, and we flip this dog all around the board while also scaling up lots of other stats. Similar to the previous Black Swan build, this deck list also has that dash of interaction and location disruption that gives you counterplay into what your opponent has going on as well. Another synergy that seems worth exploring with Kate Bishop is a deck that can really take advantage of Acid Arrow being another tool for cluttering up your opponent's side of the board. This type of traditional clutter deck also often felt like it was lacking additional ways to put raw numbers into play, which not only can Kate Bishop help with herself directly, but by helping bounce Werewolf by Night around the board, we have another card that helps line up into that as well, in tandem with White Widow and Titania and Viper and Green Goblin and even Dr. Octopus. I think this archetype can pretty consistently lock its opponent out in one spot and have a giant wolf pup poised to leap into another to guarantee you victory. Leaning into other ideas in the clutter direction, we arrive at our first Marvel Boy Kate Bishop deck list in today's roundup. Debris in particular is kind of the unifying element between these two ideas. Her rocks provide us an extra clutter mechanism alongside Kate Bishop's arrows, and they give us 1 energy cards from Marvel Boy to be pumping up turn after turn until the end of the game. Because Marvel Boy loves Debris and Squirrel Girl, it leads us to Mockingbird being a natural inclusion as another stat stick that goes tall in a particular lane, and then we round out our last couple of slots with things like Viper Hood to lean into our clutter package more, Kyera to protect our board from opposing Killmongers and Shang-Chi, and then utility disruptive cards like Snowguard, Iceman, and Nico Minaru, letting us have flexibility in different edge cases. Our next shell retains some of the synergies from the previous one, i.e. Kate Bishop and Marvel Boy alongside Squirrel Girl and Mockingbird, but it forgoes the clutter elements the previous deck list was leaning into. I think the big question in my mind surrounding Marvel Boy is exactly how many bonuses do you need to get out of him for him to feel like a worthwhile card, and above rate 3-drop is typically providing 8 or so points of power, so 2 +1s over the course of 3 turns is what I assume we're going to want, but it could be muddier than that considering Marvel Boy makes you less specific about where exactly those points are going over the course of the game. I think it's also worth noting that Kate Bishop's arrows have solid synergy with Angela and Hope Summers, and a deck like this, specifically Acid Arrow, can trigger both of our ladies and then hop across the board, not taking up a spot, and Grapple Arrow can allow you to play something into your Angela or Hope Summers path and then immediately pull it out, again letting you get more triggers on both of these powerful cards. Finally, we close things out with a fairly stock Zoo variation. This deck list without the new cards was in my most recent best decks roundup, and it's been consistently putting up results since Gilgamesh was buffed to 9 points of base power. I would expect this is almost guaranteed to be Marvel Boy's optimal home, with Kate Bishop having more of a question mark over her slot in this deck, as if she's really worthwhile compared to some of the other options. She does have good synergy with Khazar and Blue Marvel and Mockingbird, so it wouldn't surprise me if she ends up being optimal here, but I think this shell really wants Marvel Boy if it only had to pick between one of the 2 latest cards. All in all, I think Kate Bishop is everything a Marvel Snap Season Pass card should be. I don't think she's going to be overbearing and busted, but I do think she provides a bunch of interesting deck building decisions and in-game choices that are fun and satisfying to get right. I think she's an excellent pickup if you enjoy fun games of Marvel Snap. I also think she's likely to be very competitive to boot. Marvel Boy, very good card, I would wager, especially in his primary niche of zoo decks, but far less interesting and exciting than Kate Bishop. But to be fair, she does set a high bar in that regard. At any rate, thanks for watching all the way through to my wrap up on these new card reviews. If you enjoyed my musing this topic, be sure to smash that like button, and we'll see you back again real soon for some more Marvel Snap stuff here on YouTube.